The massive crystalline spires of New Geneva Station sparkled against the backdrop of Jupiter's swirling storms. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the ECS Nimble Pioneer, her flagship and pride of the Earth Combined Space Force. At just under 200 meters in length, the Pioneer was considered small by galactic standards, but Sarah knew better. Every cubic centimeter housed technology that would make their alien counterparts' heads spin, if they ever discovered it. "Admiral, the Confederation delegation is ready to dock," Lieutenant Commander Jackson reported, his dark skin contrasting with the stark white of his dress uniform. "They're bringing their ceremonial flagship. It's big." Sarah turned from the viewport just as the massive Confederation vessel emerged from fold space. The alien ship stretched nearly 3 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull adorned with ornate patterns that seemed more decorative than functional. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Confederation's obsession with size and spectacle was exactly what Earth had been counting on. "Let them dock, Commander, and make sure our quantum shrouds are operating at full capacity. We wouldn't want our guests getting too curious about our engine room." The first meeting between humanity and the Galactic Confederation had been almost a century ago, and in that time, Earth had carefully cultivated an image of technological backwardness. While other species built ever larger ships, humanity had pursued miniaturization and efficiency. The result was a fleet that appeared primitive and undersized to alien eyes, precisely as intended. High Arbiter Vextal strode through the Pioneer's airlock, his 4-meter-tall frame forcing him to duck slightly. His crystalline exoskeleton caught the light, creating rainbow patterns on the walls. Behind him, a delegation of various Confederation species followed, each trying to mask their disdain for the human vessel's modest proportions. "Welcome aboard the Nimble Pioneer," Sarah said, executing a perfect diplomatic bow. "We're honored to host this historic meeting." Vextal's translator crystal pulsed as he spoke. "The honor is," noted Admiral Chen. "Though I must admit, we expected something more substantial for such an occasion. This vessel would barely qualify as a scout ship in our fleet." Sarah maintained her diplomatic smile. "We work with what we have, High Arbiter. Earth is still developing its space capabilities, as you know." The delegation toured the ship, their comments becoming increasingly condescending. Sarah noticed how they barely glanced at the quantum compression fields disguised as ordinary bulkheads, or the neural interface nodes that looked like simple control panels. Their arrogance was their blindness, and Earth had learned to exploit that. The breaking point came during the formal dinner. Vextal, his crystalline mandibles clicking with amusement, raised what passed for a glass among his species. "To our human friends," he announced, "may they someday achieve ships worthy of true Confederation membership." The other aliens laughed, a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. Sarah felt Commander Jackson tense beside her, but she placed a calming hand on his arm. This was all part of the plan. "A lovely sentiment," Sarah replied, raising her own glass. "Though I'm curious, High Arbiter, how many ships did you lose in the Proxima Centauri sector last month?" The crystalline being's laughter cut off abruptly. The recent disappearances of Confederation vessels near human space have been classified at the highest levels. "I'm not sure what you mean, Admiral." Sarah took a casual sip of her wine. "Of course not. Just as unsure you haven't noticed that every human ship you've encountered has been roughly the same size. One might almost think we were working within self-imposed limitations rather than technological ones." The room grew silent as the implications sank in. Vextal's crystal structure shifted colors rapidly, a sign of agitation in his species. "Are you threatening the Confederation, Admiral?" "Not at all, High Arbiter. I'm simply suggesting that perhaps size isn't everything. Humanity has learned to think small." As the delegation hurriedly departed that evening, Sarah watched their massive ship disappear into fold space. She activated her neural link to Earth Command, the quantum encrypted message bypassing all known Confederation surveillance. "Phase 1 complete," she reported. "They took the bait. Prepare for their inevitable attempt to probe our defenses and wake up the AI fleet. It's time to show them what small can do. The holographic display in Earth Defense Command's underground complex showed thousands of tiny dots swarming like angry insects around the solar system's edge. Dr. Maya Patel watched the simulation with growing concern, her dark eyes reflecting the blue glow of the projection. "They're probing our defensive grid," she explained to the assembled military leadership. "The Confederation has deployed over 3,000 automated scout drones in the last week alone. They're looking for weaknesses they don't yet realize are strengths." General Marcus Rodriguez leaned forward, his weathered face illuminated by the hologram. "And our quantum shrouds are holding." Maya allowed herself a slight smile. "Better than holding, General. The drones are seeing exactly what we want them to see: outdated sensor arrays, primitive defense platforms, and minimal AI integration. Meanwhile, our actual defensive network is running at full capacity." The true genius of Earth's military strategy lay not just in miniaturization, but in the seamless integration of human and artificial intelligence. Every ship in Earth's fleet housed a quantum AI core the size of a sugar cube, yet more powerful than all of humanity's classical computers combined. The Confederation, with their brute force approach to technology, had never even considered such an approach possible. "We've intercepted communications suggesting they're planning something bigger," Admiral Chen's hologram announced from her position aboard the Pioneer. "Their leadership is divided. Some want to help guide humanity's development, meaning subjugate us before we become a threat. Others advocate for immediate military action, while they believe we're vulnerable." A soft chime interrupted the briefing. Maya's neural interface highlighted an incoming priority signal. Her eyes widened as she processed the data. "We have movement. A Confederation battle group just emerged from Fold space near Neptune. 5 capital ships, each over 2 kilometers long." General Rodriguez straightened in his chair. Composition: 4 Dominance-class battlecruisers and their new flagship, the Eternal Victory. Maya's fingers danced through the holographic interface. "They're maintaining position just outside our declared defense perimeter. It's a show of force, but also a test," Admiral Chen finished. "They want to see how we react to their presence, whether we show fear or aggression." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, knowing that their unusual approach to technological development would eventually draw unwanted attention. "Deploy the Ghost Fleet," Rodriguez ordered. "Standard patrol pattern, nothing aggressive. Let them think they're intimidating us." Across the solar system, hundreds of small ships emerged from their hidden docks. Each vessel was a masterpiece of human engineering, compact, efficient, and housing technologies that the Confederation's brightest minds had dismissed as impossible. Their true capabilities remained masked by quantum shrouds, appearing to alien sensors as simple patrol craft. Aboard the Eternal Victory, High Commander Zixtal, brother to the High Arbiter, watched the human ships with mounting frustration. "Their vessels are even smaller than our reports suggested," he growled to his command staff. "How do they expect to defend their territory with such inadequate forces?" His tactical officer, a methane-breathing Krillix, burbled in agreement. "Their formations are primitive as well. No layered defenses, no apparent coordination with their orbital platforms. They're practically inviting us to." A sudden alarm cut through the command deck. "Energy spike," the sensor operator shouted. "Massive quantum fluctuation near their 4th planet." For a brief moment, the quantum shrouds around Mars flickered, giving the Confederation forces a glimpse of what truly lurked beneath the red planet's surface, a vast complex of automated manufacturing facilities and AI research centers, all miniaturized to a degree that defied their understanding of physics. "Record everything," Zixtal ordered, but by then the anomaly had vanished, leaving only questions and a growing sense of unease. Had it been a malfunction in their sensors, a deliberate leak, or something else entirely? Maya watched the Confederation's reaction through Earth's quantum observation network. "They saw exactly what we wanted them to see," she reported. "Just enough to make them question their assumptions, not enough to reveal our true capabilities." Admiral Chen's hologram nodded approvingly. "And now they'll report back to the Confederation Council, where they'll debate for weeks about what they saw and what it means. Meanwhile, we'll continue preparing." "The next move is theirs," Rodriguez concluded. "But thanks to their predictable behavior, we already know what it will be. Humanity has spent generations being underestimated by the galaxy. It's time they learned that sometimes the smallest predator is the most dangerous." As if to emphasize his point, the massive Confederation ships began to withdraw, their crews undoubtedly confused and concerned by what they'd witnessed. Earth's seemingly primitive fleet maintained their patrol patterns, giving no indication that anything unusual had occurred. But deep within the quantum networks that connected Earth's defenders, preparations accelerated. The AI cores processed countless combat simulations, neural interfaces were updated with new tactical protocols, and automated factories worked tirelessly to produce more of humanity's deceptively simple-looking ships. The game of cat and mouse was entering its final phases. The only question was, which side was really the cat? The attack came without warning. 12 Confederation warships emerged from fold space near Saturn's rings, their massive forms casting long shadows across the ice field. Their target was simple: a small convoy of Earth cargo vessels making their way toward the outer mining colonies. "Right on schedule," Admiral Chen whispered aboard the Pioneer. Watching the trap she had spent months preparing finally sprang. The Confederation forces had done exactly what Earth's predictive AI models said they would: strike at what appeared to be a vulnerable civilian target to test humanity's response capabilities. The cargo ships, apparently panicked, scattered in different directions. Their erratic movements and distress calls painted a perfect picture of chaos and fear. The Confederation warships split into hunting groups, each pursuing what they thought were easy prey. That's when everything changed. The quantum shrouds dropped, revealing the cargo ship's true nature. Each civilian vessel was actually a carrier platform for hundreds of drone fighters, each barely larger than a human pilot, but carrying enough firepower to threaten ships 50 times their size. "Release the swarm," Chen ordered. Across the battlefield, thousands of microfighters erupted from their carrier vessels. The AI cores controlling each fighter coordinated through quantum entanglement, moving with perfect precision that no organic pilot could match. They flowed through space like schools of predatory fish, targeting the weak points in the Confederation ship's defenses. Aboard the Confederation flagship Righteous Thunder, Commander Kraltex watched in horror as his tactical display transformed into chaos. "Impossible. Their fighters are penetrating our shields." The truth was devastating in its simplicity. Earth's fighters were so small that they slipped through the frequency gaps in standard Confederation shield technology. It was a vulnerability that no other species had ever thought to exploit, simply because no one else had mastered miniaturization to this degree. Multiple hull breaches, Kraltex's tactical officer reported, panic evident in his crystalline voice. They're inside our ships." The microfighters had penetrated the massive Confederation vessels through shield gaps and maintenance ports. Once inside, they deployed even smaller autonomous repair drones, each no bigger than a human finger, that began systematically disabling critical systems. "Launch our own fighters," Kraltex ordered, but it was already too late. The human drones had targeted their launch bays first, welding them shut with precision plasma cuts. Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Phase 2, she commanded. The real Earth warships emerged from their hiding places in Saturn's rings. While still small by Confederation standards, these vessels carried humanity's most advanced weapons, quantum-phased plasma cannons that could bypass conventional shields entirely. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Combined Space Force," she broadcast on all frequencies. "Your ships are disabled. Your fighters cannot launch. Your communications are cut off. You have two choices: surrender or be destroyed." The battle was over in less than 20 minutes. Not a single human life was lost. The Confederation forces, who had expected an easy victory over primitive adversaries, found themselves completely outmaneuvered by an enemy they had gravely underestimated. As Earth forces began boarding the disabled Confederation vessels, Dr. Maya Patel's voice came through on a secure channel from Earth Command. "Admiral, we're detecting multiple fold space signatures. The Confederation is mobilizing their main battle fleet." Chen nodded, unsurprised. "Let them come. Every battle teaches our AI networks more about their tactics and technology. By the time they gather enough ships to mount a serious threat, we'll be ready for anything they can throw at us." The captured Confederation crew members watched in stunned silence as teams of humans efficiently secured their vessels. Many couldn't comprehend how they had been defeated so thoroughly by ships they had dismissed as insignificant. Their entire understanding of warfare, based on overwhelming force and massive ships, had been turned upside down. One young Confederation officer, braver than the rest, approached Admiral Chen during the surrender proceedings. "How?" he asked simply. "How did you hide all of this?" Chen allowed herself a small smile. "We didn't hide anything. You saw exactly what we wanted you to see. You just never thought to look closer because you were so convinced that bigger meant better." As the prisoners were processed and the damaged Confederation ships secured, Earth's fleet resumed their positions, quantum shrouds once again making them appear as simple, primitive vessels. But now the Confederation knew the truth, or at least part of it. They had finally learned that humanity's small ships were anything but weak. And they had yet to discover humanity's greatest weapons, the ones that even these captured ships and crews hadn't seen. The ones that would make this battle look like a mere skirmish in comparison. Deep in the quantum networks connecting Earth's defenders, the AI cores processed the battle data, learning, adapting, and preparing for the larger conflict to come. Humanity had revealed some of their capabilities, but plenty of surprises remained for any force foolish enough to think this demonstration represented the full extent of Earth's power. The Confederation Council chamber had never been so quiet. High Arbiter Vextal stood motionless as the holographic display showed the complete destruction of their strike force near Saturn. His crystalline form had taken on a dull, matte finish, a sign of extreme distress in his species. "They played us for fools," he finally said, his translator crystal pulsing weakly. "All these years, we thought we were watching them. In truth, they were watching us." The Council's strategic AI projected the next series of battle simulations. Every scenario showed the same result. Conventional attacks against Earth would fail. The humans' combination of miniaturized technology and advanced AI integration simply couldn't be countered by traditional Confederation warfare doctrine. "Then we commit the full fleet," rumbled Council member Zixnar, his massive form casting shadows across the chamber. "Overwhelm them with numbers. They cannot possibly have enough of these advanced vessels to stand against the combined might of all Confederation species." A quiet laugh drew everyone's attention. In the observers' gallery, Ambassador James Chen, Admiral Chen's brother and Earth's diplomatic representative, stood up. "I apologize for the interruption, but I can no longer maintain this charade. You still don't understand what you're facing." Without waiting for permission, he approached the central platform. "Computer, display solar system defense grid. Authorization, Chen Alpha 0. The holographic display transformed, showing thousands of tiny points of light throughout Earth's solar system. Each point represented a quantum-shrouded weapons platform, automated factory, or AI node that the Confederation had never detected. "This is what you're actually facing," Chen explained. "Every asteroid belt, every planetary ring system, every seemingly empty patch of space in our system contains our technology. We didn't build big ships because we didn't need to. Our entire system is our weapon." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Species that had evolved as predators recognized the tactical brilliance. Earth had turned their entire solar system into one massive trap. Those that evolved from herd species saw the defensive genius of hiding in plain sight. But it was High Commander Kraltex, still nursing his wounded pride from the Saturn defeat, who asked the crucial question. If this is true, why reveal it now? Chen's expression remained diplomatic, but his eyes hardened. Because in exactly 6 hours, your main battle fleet will arrive at the edge of our system. 3,000 ships, the largest armada ever assembled in Confederation history. And we wanted you to understand exactly why that was a mistake before it happened. As if on cue, quantum communication relays brought news that the Confederation fleet had begun its fold space journey toward Earth. The massive ships, each carrying enough firepower to level a continent, represented the combined military might of 27 alien species. They were about to learn that quantity meant nothing against quality. In Earth Defense Command, Dr. Maya Patel initiated the final phase of humanity's long-term strategy. Quantum shrouds disengaging across all platforms. Let them see what they're really attacking. Across the solar system, humanity's true defensive network revealed itself. Automated manufacturing facilities that had been disguised as asteroid mining operations began producing swarms of combat drones. Defense platforms that appeared to be simple sensor arrays powered up weapon systems that the Confederation had thought theoretically impossible. Most importantly, the quantum AI network that coordinated everything shifted into full combat mode. Unlike the simple tactical AIs used by the Confederation, Earth's quantum computers could process and adapt to new situations in real time, continuously evolving their strategies. Admiral Chen, watching from the Pioneer, felt a moment of sadness for the coming conflict. "Send the final warning," she ordered. "Let's give them one last chance to turn back." The message was simple, to all Confederation vessels approaching the Sol system. You have been deceived not by us, but by your own assumptions. What you thought was our weakness was our strength. What you dismissed as primitive was actually advanced beyond your understanding. Turn back now, or face the consequences of your arrogance. In the council chamber, Ambassador Chen watched the gathered aliens struggle with this new reality. Some demanded immediate surrender. Others called for pressing the attack, unable to accept that they had been so thoroughly outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitive. "There's something else you should know," Chen added quietly. "Everything we've revealed today. It's not our latest technology. It's what we had 50 years ago. Would you like to see what we've developed since then?" The chamber fell silent once more as the implications sank in. The Confederation's greatest fleet was about to engage what they now realized was merely the first layer of Earth's defenses, and somewhere out there in the darkness of space, humanity's real weapons waited to be unveiled. The Confederation battle fleet emerged from fold space in perfect attack formation, their massive ships arranged in concentric spheres of overwhelming firepower. The council chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, High Arbiter Vextal's crystalline form shifted to a deep blue, the color of humility in his species. "We have much to learn from humanity, it seems, beginning with the recognition that true strength lies not in size or spectacle, but in innovation, efficiency, and wisdom." As the formal surrender was negotiated, Admiral Chen looked out at the stars from the Pioneer's viewport. The quantum shrouds were gone now, no longer needed. Earth's fleet hung in space, their true nature finally revealed, not as primitive vessels struggling to catch up with galactic civilization, but as the most advanced ships ever created. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. "Tell them it's done. The age of deception is over. Now comes the harder part, teaching the galaxy that the greatest power often comes in the smallest packages." In the decades that followed, the galaxy would learn many things from humanity. They learned that efficiency trumps size, that intelligence matters more than brute force, and that appearances can be deceiving. But most importantly, they learned to look closer at the species they encountered, to seek understanding before judgment. And if occasionally a new species would look at humanity's small ships and smile knowingly, well, some lessons are best learned through experience.